Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the explosive developments happening this Wednesday, February 4, as multiple storylines collide in Port Charles with devastating consequences for several beloved characters and their families. Emma's devastating discovery. The peaceful morning at the Quartermaine mansion was shattered when Emma Scorpio Drake received an unexpected international phone call that would send shockwaves through Port Charles. A police officer from a small, picturesque town nestled in the French countryside contacted her with information that was both a relief and deeply concerning. The officer, speaking in heavily accented English, explained that a disheveled woman matching Anna Devane's description had frantically flagged down a passing vehicle on a rural road just outside the town limits early that morning. The woman was clearly distressed, her clothes torn and dirty, appearing as though she had been running through rough terrain for hours. Emma's hands trembled as she listened to every word the French policeman relayed. Anna had given the local authorities a harrowing account of being held captive somewhere in France against her will, before managing a daring escape. But the most shocking revelation came next. Anna insisted with absolute certainty that César Faison is alive. The implications of this bombshell are staggering, considering Faison was believed to have been dead for years. How could this be possible? Emma's mind raced with questions about whether her grandmother had been moved from Windermere to France, especially given that Pascal had recently claimed to be operating from French territory. The geographical connection was too significant to ignore. Unable to process this information alone, Emma immediately reached out to Felicia Scorpio, knowing she needed someone who understood the full weight of what this meant. When they meet, Emma's face is streaked with tears, her voice breaking with emotion as she delivers the devastating news. It's Grandma, and she's in trouble, she manages to say through her sobs. Felicia's reaction is visceral. Her eyes instantly well up with tears, and her expression shifts from concern to barely contained panic. The two women share a moment of profound connection, bound together by their love for Anna and their terror at what she might be enduring thousands of miles away. Felicia reaches out to comfort Emma, but her own hands are shaking, betraying her attempt to remain strong for the younger woman. Diane's suspicious gift. At the prestigious law offices of Miller & Davis, Diane Miller sits across from Michael Corinthos in her elegantly appointed conference room. The afternoon sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, but the atmosphere is anything but peaceful. Diane leans forward, her expression a mixture of surprise and calculated interest as she shares the latest development with her client. ADA Turner just handed us a massive gift, she announces, though her tone carries an undercurrent of skepticism that Michael immediately picks up on. But what exactly is this gift that Turner has offered? Diane's sharp legal mind is already analyzing every angle, searching for the hidden trap that might be lurking beneath what appears to be a generous gesture from the prosecution. Her years of experience have taught her that when something seems too good to be true in the legal arena, it almost always is. While Rick Lansing has been expertly handling Michael's visitation hearing, which everyone knows will eventually escalate into a full-blown custody battle over his children, there remains the pressing matter of Michael being named a person of interest in Drew Kane's shocking shooting. Diane's suspicion grows as she reviews the details of Turner's offer, whatever it may be. Is the acting district attorney attempting to manipulate Michael into accepting a deal that would somehow benefit the prosecution's larger strategy, or could there be political motivations at play? With Turner using Michael's high-profile case to advance her own career ambitions, Michael watches his attorney carefully, knowing that Diane's instincts have saved him countless times before. The tension in the room is palpable as they both contemplate their next move, fully aware that one wrong step could cost Michael everything he holds dear, his freedom, his children, and his future. Jason's impossible choice. Meanwhile, Jason Morgan finds himself in an agonizing position, caught between loyalty duty and the protection of someone vulnerable. He's deep in conversation with Detective Dante Falconeri, and the weight of the decisions he faces is evident in his troubled expression. Jason has always prided himself on his ability to think clearly under pressure, but the current situation has him genuinely torn between competing obligations. First, there's the information about Anna that Emma shared while he was visiting the Quartermaine mansion. Jason relays to Dante that Anna has reported Faison is alive, and the detective's reaction is immediate and grave. Dante, understanding the psychological trauma that Anna must be experiencing, tells Jason solemnly that she'll need someone she knows and trusts to lead her back from the brink of whatever horrors she's endured. The implication is clear. Anna's mental state might be fragile after her ordeal, and she'll need careful support from those closest to her. But Jason's internal conflict runs even deeper. He possesses another crucial piece of information, what Britt Westbourne confided in him about Jen Sidwell's role in Henry Dalton's murder. If Jason shares this intelligence with Dante, he could potentially save both Sonny Corinthos and Laura Collins from Sidwell's dangerous machinations. The information could give law enforcement the leverage they need to neutralize the threat that Sidwell poses to Port Charles. However, revealing what Britt told him would immediately compromise her safety, potentially putting a target on her back and destroying any chance she has of staying under the radar while dealing with her own precarious situation. Jason's face is etched with conflict as he weighs these impossible choices. Does he tell Dante everything he knows about Britt's involvement and the Sidwell connection, or does he keep that information to himself, protecting Britt while potentially leaving Sonny and Laura vulnerable? Every fiber of Jason's being is programmed to protect those he cares about. But in this situation, protecting one person means endangering others. The moral complexity of his position is unprecedented even for someone who has navigated the gray areas of Port Charles for decades. Britt's crisis. Speaking of Britt Westbourne, her situation has reached a critical breaking point. After returning to her modest room at Bobby's establishment, Britt made a discovery that sent her into absolute panic mode. Her essential medication has vanished. The specialized medicine that she requires to manage her Huntington's disease symptoms is nowhere to be found, and the implications are terrifying. Without her medication, her condition could deteriorate rapidly, and the physical and neurological symptoms could become unmanageable. Britt is visibly freaking out, her hands frantically searching through every drawer, every corner of her room, desperately hoping she simply misplaced the medication. But deep down, she knows the truth. Someone has been in her room and deliberately taken it. Her voice rises in desperation as she speaks, presumably on the phone, saying with barely controlled hysteria, "I said I would do the work, and I'm doing it." But who is on the receiving end of this frantic declaration? The possibilities are chilling. Could it be Pascal continuing to manipulate and control her from afar? Or perhaps Jen Sidwell himself, using the medication as leverage to ensure Britt's continued cooperation with whatever scheme he's orchestrating? There's also the mysterious Ross Cullum to consider. What might his role be in this unfolding drama? The fact that someone violated her private space while she thought she was being careful adds another layer of paranoia and fear to Britt's already fragile state. What makes this even more complicated is that Britt had spent what she believed was a secret night with Jason at an old, abandoned harbormaster's cabin near the Port Charles waterfront. The cabin, weathered by years of neglect, had provided them temporary shelter and privacy from prying eyes. During their time there, Jason had mentioned the possibility of reverse engineering her medication to ensure she wouldn't run out. But he had explicitly promised not to take her current dose at that time. So if Jason kept his word, who broke into her room and stole the medication, and more importantly, what do they want in exchange for its return? Turner's power play in yet another corner of Port Charles. Acting District Attorney Justine Turner appears to be engaging in a dangerous game of cat and mouse with none other than Sonny Corinthos. The scene is intimate and charged with unspoken tension as Turner gets very close to Sonny, uncomfortably, provocatively close. She's right up in his face, invading his personal space in a way that could be interpreted as either professionally aggressive or personally flirtatious. Her lips curl into a calculated smile as she delivers what sounds like a teasing challenge. Anything's possible, but don't hold your breath. The context of their conversation almost certainly revolves around Michael's interrogation and the criminal investigation that continues to swirl around the Corinthos family. Turner has clearly come to discuss the case with Sonny, but her approach is unconventional to say the least. There's definitely an element of flirtation in the air. But the critical question remains, who is playing whom in this complex dance between the acting DA and Port Charles's most notorious mob boss? Sonny, for his part, is no stranger to using charm and manipulation to achieve his objectives. He's spent decades navigating relationships with law enforcement officials, prosecutors, and judges, always managing to find the angle that works to his advantage. But Turner seems equally skilled at the art of manipulation, using her proximity, her smile, and her carefully chosen words to keep Sonny slightly off balance. Is she genuinely attracted to him? Or is this all part of a calculated strategy to get him to lower his guard and reveal information that could be used against his family? The power dynamics between them are fascinating to observe. Turner holds the authority of her office and the weight of the law behind her, but Sonny has his own kind of power, influence, resources, and a lifetime of experience dealing with people who underestimate him. As they face off in this charged moment, both seem to be assessing the other, looking for weaknesses, testing boundaries, and trying to determine whether they're on even playing ground or if one has a distinct advantage. The real question that everyone in Port Charles will be asking is whether this flirtation is genuine or purely strategic. Could Turner actually be developing real feelings for Sonny, despite the obvious conflicts of interest? Or is she coldly using his attraction to her as a weapon in the prosecution's arsenal? And what about Sonny? Is he truly interested in the acting DA, or is he simply doing what he's always done, using whatever tools are at his disposal to protect his family and his empire? The answers to these questions could have profound implications for the ongoing legal battles facing the Corinthos family and the broader power structures in Port Charles.